Hello, wonderful people. How are you? Today I'm talking about sandcastles. Tell you all about it on the other side. We were talking about these shifts that are going on. There's a lot of shifts going on. The earth is shifting. We are shifting. Collective consciousness is shifting. Everything's shifting and is great. For the better. Para bien, as they say in Spanish. So I was asking the emissaries about that, and they said, yes, there's a lot of shifts going on because we are in the process of the truth waves. Okay, I think we've been in there for a while, but I think it's picking up speed. So I said, well, what do you mean by the truth waves? And they said, the energetic waves of that are going to bring truth, as the light gets brighter, bringing truth. And the drip, drip, dripping, like these waves. They said, but however, don't think that just because a wave of truth goes sweeping through the population, that is going to wake everybody up. That's going to change everybody. They said, that's not how it works. And they give me the example of I'm sure we've all done it. You're on the beach next to the sea and you build a big sandcastle and when the tide's coming in. And you sit in your sandcastle. I've done it so many times. Big sandcastle. And the waves come and they hit the sandcastle and they run around the sides and then they run away. And the castle's still there. And then the wave comes in again and it runs around. And it takes a bit of the wall away with it each time. But the wall stays. If you made a good one, it stays for a good while. That's where we are. The waves are coming in, the truth waves, and they're washing away the foundations of the sandcastles that everybody's built. These sleeping people are surrounded by sandcastles. No foundation in anything. Foundation free, weak and wobbly. But they're there and they built them up. And so little by little they're going to be washed away. I mean, how many times, I remember after the stupidity 4 years ago now, after the stupidity, stuff started to come out. People were saying things, people were speaking out, and every time at the beginning, I used to say, that's it, they've talked about it, that's it, the truth's going to come pouring out and everybody's going to see it, and of course, then it just disappeared. It was like nobody had ever said it. These are the truth waves, this is what we're in. The truth wave comes, and as it goes, it takes away a bit of the wall, the protection. But it doesn't take away everything. And so that's why we mustn't get too excited every time that we see something. We don't think that that's it done. No. It's going to be again and again and again and again until the wall collapses. So that's where we are now in the truth waves. So every time that you see a bit of information coming through, and I'm seeing it on what I've noticed, I don't know whether you've noticed it, but we've got mainstream or lamestream or whatever you want to call it. I think I can think of worse words than that. You've got alternative, and then you've got something like kind of in the middle, like the alternative mainstream. And what I've noticed is that the truth movement seems to have gone into the alternative mainstream, and so people are starting to talk about things that they wouldn't normally talk about. The stuff that we've been talking about for years. I mean, we are going to be vindicated. Everything that we said right at the beginning, it was incredible. How did we know all of this? How did we know when the plan stroke demic started that it was exactly that? And how did we know that they were going to be bringing these out? And how did we know that these were going to damage people? And how did we know all of these things? We knew them because we were already kind of in that loop. And so it was very obvious. And also we'd been trained. I certainly been trained to spot bullshit. My bullshit meter was at maximum. And so I was calling bullshit on everything, like we all were. But those words were lost, even though we told a lot of people. But now what's happening is those words are now catching up. What we said is now catching up, and people are starting to talk about it all over. I mean, if you listen to Andrew Bridgen talking in Parliament, he's talking like we were talking 4 years ago. The things that he's saying, I've heard lots and lots and lots of commentators starting to talk about it very openly. And I think this is a beautiful shift that we're in. This is what the truth waves are all about. But we've got to give it time, right? And it's not our business. Let it come out. And, it is nice to hear somebody say, hey, you were right. It's nice. Egoically, it's like, yeah, I was right. But it doesn't matter anyway. They've got to catch up. We know. So we don't need anyone to tell us that we were right. We know. We know what it was. And it's just nice. We should celebrate every time somebody comes through and says, my God, all of that was true. God. Very good. Very good. Let's move on. Let's move on. And then I want to add something. As I was having this conversation about the truth waves, we had 4 beautiful days of clear skies. And I'm talking about beautiful azure skies, which is normal in Spain. 4 days of nothing. And then when I started to run, because I always put my head out before I go running, because I think if I've got a blue sky, it's going to be beautiful. But those doodahs up there, they do piss me off a bit. Yeah. And so I looked out the window, and what did I see? A big fuck off X in the sky, but like mega massive. And I was thinking, bastards, just when I was going to run as well. And so I said to the emissaries, when are these going to stop? When they're going to stop them? And they said, they'll stop them when the baddies concede, when they throw down their hand. And they said, until then, they won't stop. They're going to be doing their thing, and they're desperate. I mean, they're desperate. They're doing it more and more because they know that the shit's about to hit the fan. And so they said, take it as a sign that when you see them stop, you know that they've conceded completely. And we're not there yet, as we know. And so therefore they're going to continue until such time as the baddies say, that's it. All right, we're retiring from the table. And you know what's interesting? What's really interesting is that a number of states in the US have banned them. All right? Have banned those lines in the sky. And they don't even exist. They are pure conspiracy theory. So we've been told, and so we are continued to be told. Apparently, so somebody said, whether it's true or not, who knows, they said that, the mess in Dubai with all of the rain and all of that, and it's all like in mainstream, cloud seeding and all of that. And they said that they were being punished, which is, I believe, whether that's particularly right, but I do believe that is a punishment that goes on, which many places have been punished for doing certain things, and they have these terrible events that happen to them. And they said they were punished, but everybody's going, that's not normal, they're doing something and they're manipulating. And so they stopped worldwide just for a few days. They just stopped. And then they started on that day that I had the conversation with the emissaries. And then, bizarrely enough, the next day, nothing. And the next day, nothing. And so we're having this, and today, nothing. I can see the blue sky. We're having this beautiful, what they call in Spain, una racha bonita, of blue sky. But there was one day. So, they're not going to finish. And frankly, that story that came about them saying, oh, well, yeah, they're not doing them anymore. If you see them, you know that they're releasing nice stuff to cleanse the earth. I don't believe that. I don't believe it because it doesn't resonate with me. And I have a feeling that the baddies might have invented that story just so we go, oh, it's okay. No. There's nothing changed. Exactly the same patterns are being formed. Exactly the same things are being done. So until we see that stop, then we know that the baddies are still doing their thing. And when it stops, we know it's over. Okay, so that's all for now. I love you lots, and I'll speak to you all later. Bye-bye.